Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the show that is not a show, which doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It just means that it's not a show, right? That makes sense? I think that makes sense. It means that we just kind of hang out, we drink something together, and talk about what's going on. Sometimes we talk about what's going on in the local craft beer community. Sometimes we just talk about what's going on in our lives because when it's not a show, that's what you get to do. The whole point of this is to do this virtual happy hour kind of idea, hang out together and talk. So the chat is very important. No matter where you're listening, you can just get on and chat, and everybody will be able to see it once I put it up on the screen. I'm pointing over here like you guys can see the screen over there like I can. You can't. Or if you want to get things really exciting, you also have the option where you can call in. We have what we call the drunk line. 567-70-DRINK. We'll tie you right in here to the studio, and we can talk to you that way. Or 567-703-7465 for those of us who get confused by words inside our phone numbers. Hi, guys. So it's been a fun weekend. If you follow it on social media, there's a lot that we need to get to as far as some of the stuff that's been happening on social media. That's not my fun trip to Columbus. But if you followed along with my social media over the weekend, spent some time in Columbus, drank a bunch of beer, visited a bunch of breweries, some places that I haven't been before, so we can always talk about that. We could also talk about the explosion of all of the reports of sexual harassment and really crappy people in the beer industry this weekend. We could talk a lot about that. There's a lot to be said about that and how it relates to our local community and kind of the bigger picture, too, of craft beer. Chime in, tell us what you're drinking, and that's how we always kick things off. I'm finishing off some pineapple Hefeweizen from Sons of Toil. This was my wife's, and she very graciously shared with me. So if you didn't listen to this week's episode of Cincy Brewcast, this is where we were. Sons of Toil, we made the long drive out there. It's pretty much, so it takes about half as long, maybe even a little more than half as long to get to Sons of Toil than it does to get to Columbus, which is funny. Let's see. Chris Walker is drinking Hot Butcher. Exciting. I have another one that I'm going to dive into here in a minute, too. I don't know if I should talk about that now or wait till I actually crack it open. I've got an Urban Artifact, one of the gyroscope Midwest Fruit Tart variants. This one is raspberry ice cream with a very friendly-looking polar bear. And I maintain that polar bears should never look friendly on anything. We should fear them, because they're the most terrifying bear. So where do you guys want to start this? Let's talk about my trip, because that's way happier than the idea that there are really bad people in craft beer that are doing some terrible things to females in the industry. So we'll definitely get to that. But we spent the day on Saturday up in Columbus, ventured around. Julie says, start in Columbus. Will do. So I headed up to Columbus with a handful of some people that kind of do similar things to what I do in different parts of the state. If you listened to our Ohio craft beer year rundown back in December maybe, it was a lot of those folks that met all kind of there because it's central to all of us. And we, Sean White of of nostalgia was kind enough to drive us all around and take us to pretty much wherever we wanted to go, and we kind of left it in his hands, and we just kind of jumped around all day. So I'll roll through the stops real quick, and feel free to chime in. Was it January? No. We did one. So that was our big show. We did like a Zoom thing that was on my YouTube channel. I'll run through the stops here, which will give you kind of a breakdown of the places that we were. Give you a breakdown. And we can talk about what I drank and that kind of stuff. If you've been to any of these places, feel free to chime in, and we'll talk about them. We started out nostalgia, of course. We ate some lunch. Then we've shot over to Two Tones Brewing, where I ran into. It was funny. I ran into David McKinney. You guys, I'm sure, kind of anybody that listens to my shows have heard him from time to time. I think he's been on 3 or 4 times. MMA McKinney. Ran into him randomly there. He was up there doing some work stuff. Then we shot over to Parsons North, which I had never heard a lot about, but really, really enjoyed. They had, we'll get into each of them here a little bit. Antiques on High. Then we ran over to Land Grant, and then yes, we went to Brewdog. We can talk a lot about that too. And then we ran over to the Taft's Brewporium. I had never seen the Columbus location, and was definitely curious to see what they were doing there. And there's a couple things I want to talk about that too. But started at nostalgia. It has been a while since I have been to nostalgia. I mean, we're talking years since I have been up there, and what they're doing there is absolutely just awesome. It is such a fun place. They obviously, you can tell by the name, they tap into lots of fun nostalgic things from our generation's childhood, 80s, 90s, with the theme there. And the beer's great. The food was awesome. They had these mac and cheese skillets. So it's basically a bowl of mac and cheese with some kind of meat thrown in there, and then more cheese melted on top. And just really, really good. So had a blast there. Drank their mariachi. It's a Mexican lager. Starting out nice and easy. At Two Tones, I had a pint of their Pilsner. You guys know I'm a Pilsner nut. And then had a little taster of they have a crumble. They call it a vanilla ale on the menu, but it's supposed to taste kind of like a sugar cookie. And it nailed that too. That place was neat. It was small. I don't know how big the brew house is, but it was a tiny little place, but they have a nice big patio with a food truck and picnic tables. I really like kind of that size of a place. It still feels like I always remember craft brewing kind of feeling when I started getting into it as far as tap rooms go. So I really liked that stop a lot. Parsons North blew me away. Their beer garden, which we got to sit outside since it was nice outside, have a beer outdoors, which I'm just so ready for that time of year. Although I did see that the first signs of the cicadas have started appearing around town. So, yeah. I don't know how the outdoor drinking season is going to go this year, but the beer garden there was really cool. It was nice and big and kind of wrapped around the building, so it gave these very different types of seating areas. So like if you were with a group of people, you could find a spot that was kind of relaxed and yours. Let's see. Rob says that he agrees. Love the size of Two Tones. Best of all of them with Parsons a close second. Yes. Although, so I'll get to the other ones here. Antiques on High. I thought this was really cool. It was definitely not the type of place that I would want to kind of sit all the time and just hang out. But the super kind of retro vibe to it. Kind of like a swanky, retro-y kind of bar. Very hipster, I guess, but lots of sour beer. I'm assuming you guys know who some of these places are, but sour beer. I had a couple there. I had their mahogany, which was a dark sour with cherries, I believe. That was good. And then Ginny, which is gin barrel aged sour something or other, lighter beer. It was good. We get spoiled. I'm used to what Madry has done with June and those bourbon gin barrels, which that beer is just phenomenal to me. Obviously not sour, but I feel like the gin got lost a little bit with the tartness. I'm getting sidetracked. Land Grant. This one surprised me too. Now, we sat inside the tap room because it was so busy, and inside wasn't busy at all, so we sat inside the tap room. But the beer garden there was freaking awesome. It was massive. They have what looks like a barbecue kind of food truck, like a permanent barbecue food truck that just kind of posts right in the middle. You get your little table in the beer garden. There's an app, I think, that you can order your beer on, and then you just walk up to this little shed in the middle and pick up your beer there, for lack of a better way to put it. But man, that beer garden was dead on to, I think I won't say dead on. It was what I like from beer gardens. Lots of people, lots of in different times, very communal type of atmosphere. Very, very social and just really, really cool space. One that, I've had Land Grant beer from time to time. We obviously get them down here, but never paid a lot of attention to them. I just kind of, I drink them every once in a while and then move on. But I was definitely pleasantly surprised by what they're doing there. And I did get a flight there, which was fun. So I got to try a bunch of different things that I hadn't had before. Matt says Land Grant's the only one I've been to. I enjoyed that place. Yeah, it was really cool. Then we ran over across the street to Brewdog. So, Brewdog. Everybody's been to a Brewdog. Every Brewdog feels the same. They all kind of look the same. The beer's all the same. There is still a lot to be said about Brewdog, and this, them taking over the world is what it seems like. They are not slowing down, and they know exactly how to put together a great tap room, and they do it, and then they copy and paste and copy and paste and copy and paste, and yeah, it's Marco says best way to keep cicadas out of your outdoor beer, go. So I don't know that all of this remains to be seen about the cicadas. From what I remember about them, it's not like when you sit down outside, they're falling into your beer. Like they're not like smacking into you all the time and that kind of stuff, unless you're mowing the grass or something where it makes noise and then they're attracted to that. From what I remember, I don't think you need to worry about getting them in your beer. However, if it's a problem, I will come up with a solution, and I will, face mask might work. I will report back the best cicada beer drinking apparatus. I have lots of ways to drink beer. I will come up with one that makes it so I can't get cicadas in it. We, as a family, we are camping the weekend of Memorial Day. It's one of our yearly camp out weekends. And I assume there's going to be a bunch of cicadas, and I assume I'm going to be drinking a whole bunch of beer. So I will definitely have some solutions by the end of the weekend if it's a problem. Chris says, I blew it. Did you creep the new Jackios? No. I wouldn't have minded to check it out, but I don't imagine it's going to have the same charm that that the original Jackios does. He also says that the best solution is to chug, and I think that is the correct answer. There's two things that you can do to keep them out of your beer. Drink your beer very quickly, or drink out of a bottle, because I think they're too big to get inside the top of a bottle, so you might be good. They're probably too big to get inside of a can, too. So that might work. Chris Walker says, "God, I miss camping. Take them camping. You can take your family. It is a blast." And although it remains to be seen how our little guy does. This is his first time camping with us, so it might be hell. But my 4-year-old loves it. She's been camping since she was probably 1. We go 2 or 3 times a year, and she really, really enjoys it. So everybody misses camping. Go camping. That's like the one thing that you can just go do. Anyways, after Brewdog, we ran over to Taft's to grab dinner and hang out for a little bit. I was definitely wanting to see what they did with their Columbus location. Number one, it is way bigger than I anticipated it to be. Like, it's a good-sized tap room. It's a really well-laid-out tap room. The bar is kind of a U-shape in the middle, so you have space over on the right and then a patio. And then to the left, there's a bunch of games and stuff. There's a stage in one part. There's there's the pizza that you're used to if you've been to the Brewporium down here. The one thing that I was really disappointed to see, when they announced the location, they talked a lot about the 7-barrel brew house that was going to be there. Unless they've got it hidden away, there is no 7-barrel brew house in that tap room. Maybe it just hadn't quite come together yet. And then COVID, so maybe it just hasn't come together yet. All that is there is one empty fermenter. That is it. And I think it's a 7-barrel fermenter, so they weren't lying about the size. But yeah, I don't like seeing that they have not been making anything there. Hopefully they will roll out something that is Columbus exclusive stuff to make it kind of a real local spot. That's one of my biggest gripes down here, is when a out-of-towner comes in and opens a fake tap room, one where people, if you ask them, say, "Oh yeah, this is a brewery," and then you find out that there is not a drop of beer being made there. Let's see. Chris says they're busy brewing 80% of the distro beer in Cincy. Yeah, they're making a lot. That is something that I would love to talk about too, or get some people on to talk about. I know of places that are contracting at Taft's that we're not really talking about, that people don't know are making some of their beer there. And then I've also heard several rumors about some other places that are also kind of doing it or have done it from time to time. There's lots of contract brewing. I don't have an issue with contract brewing. I don't like when it's not being communicated. Like I like that, when you grab a 6-pack of Alexandria's cans off of the shelf, it says very clearly on there, this beer is brewed at wooden cask, by Alexander Brewing Company or for Alexander Brewing Company. They're honest about it. They're open about it. You know where your beer is coming from. That was part of the thing that people didn't like about beer before craft beer came around. Part of what we love about craft beer is you know where your beer comes from. You know who's making your beer, and you can connect with it in that way. That's not a problem with contract brewing. That's a problem with not talking about contract brewing. So, and like Moreline takes it at least one step towards that and says, yes, we're contract brewing it, and yes, we're making it in Cincinnati, but they don't say where they're making it. I believe Brink has not come out and said where they're making theirs. I believe maybe they have. I know when McLeese was on the show a while back, he just said that they were going to be contract brewing it and that they could not talk about where. So I don't know. It was a neat tap room. That's the point of it, is that it was a really enjoyable place to grab a beer. And it is definitely a concept that could be picked up and replicated in a lot of places. I think it's a definite sign that we are looking at a different way of expanding your brewery. That's not a surprise to anybody. We've seen it with all these places expanding, be it Jackie O's or Taft's or the new announcement from Mad Tree with the Alcove, or March 1st. The idea of just one giant brewery that just sends cans of beer out to wherever they want that beer to be doesn't make as much sense anymore. People like tap rooms, and tap rooms generate more revenue for a brewery, and you can still make all your beer or the majority of your beer in one spot and send it to all of those tap rooms, and then you can create spaces that tap into that local community better. Marco says, I bought Little Kings yesterday for the first time. Did you buy the regular Little Kings or did you buy the flavored Little Kings? I will definitely be talking in the near-ish future about the flavored Little Kings. Supposedly there's some that are going to appear on my doorstep here in the next few days, so I'm going to drink them when they come. I also said West Coast IPA was really good. Chris says I missed Little Kings bottles. They're still around. You can still get the little, what are they, 8-ounce bottles, 7-ounce bottles. Yeah, they're around. Although you probably can't get them in Kentucky. Although I don't know that for a fact. But they're still around. You can get them. You can get your Little Kings in 16-ounce pint cans, which I don't like. I recognize that the logistics of it, you can't really do those little 7-ounce cans easily, or probably cost effective for what they are doing. But if you're going to put it in cans, that's the way I would have preferred to see it. And I know that it's been in lots of different cans. I have plenty of Little Kings cans in my collection. They've been in 12-ouncers. They've been in giant, 32 or, I think they're big, like 32, like quart cans. They've been everywhere. Let's see. Marco says about the regular, but was given a flavored one the other day. I think it was blood orange. What did you think? Chris wants to know, can you still get 40s? Not currently, but but in the future, I assume that is a possibility. Maybe Little Kings in something really massively obnoxious would work in the same way that in those tiny little bottles. There is just something about feeling like Chris Walker says, I want to feel like a giant while drinking. There's something about that. You want these little bottles that just make you feel powerful, and that you can just pound them and then, line up your bottles, and I don't know. Margo says it went down quickly, but not sure it'll be a go-to beer for me. Big ass Kings. It still has to say something about little to be ironic and keep the hipsters happy. I think we're caught up on the comments. I love Little Kings. I really do. It is one of the most memory-inducing, nostalgic type of beers that is around for me. I like Hootie's fun, but it doesn't do that same thing to me. Like there is something about that, that iconic bottle that just kind of registers memories. It kind of logs them away. They're associated with that bottle, I guess. So yeah, I will be talking about Little Kings in the future, in the near future. I'm also going to go ahead and crack open another beer before I finish that beer, because why not? And I've been curious to try this polar bear beer. This non-terrifying polar bear. Raspberry ice cream. Urban Artifact just put out a press release today too about them expanding in their warehouse space. They've been sort of outgrowing it for a while and looking for a solution there. And the solution was to expand in the same warehouse, which makes a lot of sense. But I have heard that they've kind of jumped back and forth on kind of a little bit of how they're going to grow in the near future between expanding contract or not and things like that. Depending on how well this new seltzer from them goes over, they may be cranking out a whole bunch more volume here in the very near future. And this seltzer that they're making, I anticipate is going to be freaking delicious and sit right on board with some of the stuff from March 1st for me that, it's a whole different look at what seltzer is and why people are drinking seltzer. This idea that people are drinking seltzer because they need it to be 100 calories is absolutely insane, because that's not really why people are drinking it. That may be why people think they're drinking it, but it's not. Julia says, speaking of growing, I saw a job posting for general manager at Listerman. Assuming that's for the new Trailhouse location. No. I don't know if that's public knowledge yet. But from my understanding, Jason Brewer is no longer with Listerman. I can, I guess, say that I've been hearing rumors that was happening, and that's the newest rumor that I'm hearing also, is that it has happened. So I need to reach out and get a confirmation on that. But so there is like a manager of the Trailhouse location already. I can't remember the guy's name, but they picked up somebody to manage that space, which is going to, from my understanding, I haven't dug in and written anything about it yet, but it's going to be similar to that same idea of a tap room that just serves beer from Listerman. It will all still be brewed in the original location. Again, that's my understanding. They have a brewing license there, so we'll see. Or they have one pending. I don't know if it's been approved yet. Yeah, don't quote me on that yet, because like I said, I don't have confirmation. I don't have confirmation. But I have seen it written on some social media and stuff. So there are other people saying that. It's not just coming from me. So don't put me down as the source for any rumors that you hear. Let's see. I think there's talent in the industry market. There are many factors. Yes. There is incredible talent right now, especially, and I'm just looking at do you think they're going to be making crazy overfruited seltzers along the lines of Untitled Art? I assume you're asking about Urban Artifact. The answer is yes and no. So these are not going to be crazy, sweet, kind of overly fruited in that way. They're definitely overly fruited, but they, similar to the Midwest fruit tarts, Urban Artifact is very brilliant with taking a extremely dry, overly fruited beer and giving it the impression that it is kind of sweet, even though it's not. Like, it's extremely dry. But when you drink it, if somebody asked you an hour later and said, how sweet was that beer? You say, oh, man, it was so sweet. It was so good. It was, loaded with fruit. And that is the same thing that they are doing with these seltzers. Same process, just a seltzer. It's I cannot wait to try it. I talked to Brett pretty extensively about it over the last while, we'll put it that way, and about seltzer, and it's a fascinating category. And if anybody can do it in a really exciting way, it is definitely Urban Artifact. Julia laughs and says, "You guys are the only people I talk to that would care anyway. So it's the only place I ever mention it." That's funny. Yeah. I'm definitely curious to see how things go with all of that. I'm seeing if I have any other notes here of things I want to talk about. We'll get to sexism in the beer industry, I guess. Let's do labels. If Urban Artifact makes a seltzer, that might be the only way to get my board with drinking them. I'm dying to get my hands on them. He offered to throw some my way, and I'm like, oh, there's no way I can get down to the tap room anytime soon because of the way my schedule is. And Chris Walker says that Brett is his favorite Twitter follow. He loves the duck updates. Yeah, him and his wife just got a little duck family that are hanging out in the backyard, and he'll post just him sitting in the backyard with a beer in one hand and his ducks playing in the yard. It's awesome. Joey wants to know what my favorite beer that I had last weekend in Columbus, and then Marco also asked if they're sour seltzers. I do not believe they are. They have some tartness to them. That is part of kind of how they do their kind of their fruit flavor profile thing. Is the tartness, I think, is very important. So yes, I think they will have some amount of tartness. I don't know how much. My favorite beer. Let me look at my list of things I drank here. This is tough. I am going to say, out of the ones that I drank, I really enjoyed maybe either Pool Party at Land Grant. That was I think it's a Pilsner. They had one called Lemon Glow that is probably like a pale ale or an IPA with, I assume, lemon drop hops. It was really good. Or I really, really enjoyed that they have an English ale, which is kind of like a mild, or probably is a mild, just not called a mild, at Parsons North. That was really good too. The only thing with that one is we were sitting outside, like I said, in the beer garden, so it got a little warm pretty quickly, and I'm a slow drinker, so yeah, it would have been better if I drank it quicker. But yeah, those were probably my favorites. Definitely not the Clockwork Tangerine that I drank at Brewdog. Not that it was a bad beer. I feel so weird drinking it. All right, let's look at some beer labels. A lot of these aren't going to be. Actually, I don't know if any of these are new beer. Well, one of them's kind of new, or new, yes. But they're still fun to look at and fun to see. So, more fretboard. You guys know my stance on that, on why we're seeing these. As soon as there's news in that realm, I will share it with you. Bootsy. There's Crazy Train. There is not a lot different about these from what you've already seen on cans. Fuji, love this beer. Love this beer so much. In fact, I wish I had some this month to take camping with me, because that's the thing that works when you're camping. Oh, Brad's on there. So I yeah. It seems strange that you would need to get label approvals if your beer stays in the state of Ohio. Klosterman Honey Wheat Lager. I haven't had this beer in a long time, and I freaking loved it when I did. So like I said, you've seen all these beers, so it's not like you're getting anything groundbreaking out of this. I did throw one collar in here, one keg collar approval from Run Guys, because I've never seen this beer, R4, a hazy pale ale. And this, for you Northern Kentucky people, will be exciting, because I think you've been waiting to see cans on shelves, and the label approvals were the holdup on getting them in Northern Kentucky. And so they're here. They are approved. So I assume that you will start seeing them very soon. It's also the new branding on almost all of them, which is fun. I really like it. I don't like that it doesn't tell me the episode of Sonder Stories anymore. I really liked that about the old design, that it had that little bar at the top that would tell you what episode the beer was featured. Brad says that they are making a huge batch of Klosterman this week. And I say that is awesome. Let's see. Marco says to Julia that they should start a podcast about Cincinnati beer podcasts. I agree. I would totally listen to that. We can record it while waiting on food and drinking truths. It would be called Truth and Pod Sequences. No, that is a terrible, terrible, wonderful name. This is the one that has the old branding, and you can see what I'm talking about here on too. At the top, it says that you can listen to the Sonder Stories podcast. Some of them will tell you exactly what episode of the podcast to go to listen to the story of the beer. And I've always thought that was just such a brilliant thing to put on your cans, and now it's gone. So that's my biggest gripe with the new branding. Other than that, though, if you look at the difference between that old branding and the new branding, I love it. I think it is so cool. Record hop with Northern Discovery hops. I really liked this beer the second time I had it. The first time I had it was when I had COVID, and I couldn't figure out if it, if my taste was off, and that confirmed to me when I had it afterwards that yes. Voss, and You Betcha. This is, I guess, a new one. A little more exciting. You have Kaleidoscope is coming out next month, this month, next month, whenever the next Midwest Fruit Tart release is. And this is one of the variants. The other variant, actually, I can probably look that up and. This one salsa. The other one, hang on, I gotta pull it up on the website. If you don't know, Urban Artifact has these really cool membership programs that you can sign on to. I can't talk and type at the same time. Urban Artifact. So you can get on, and I was part of both of them, which doesn't make any sense. But they started the quarterly one first and then launched this monthly one. So I joined the monthly one, and you can, Lord, I can't do more than one thing at a time here, guys. You can sign on to a monthly subscription box, and every month they ship you. I don't remember what the standard thing is. It's like a 4-pack of the Midwest Fruit Tart, 2 of each of the variants, I think 2 60-ounce cans, something like that. And then you can add anything else into the box or take anything away from the box that you want to. So you can just get them every month dropped onto your doorstep. So let's see. I can never remember how to do it from my phone. See if it's easier. Hang on. Let me pull that off while I pull it up here. So you get to see all the stuff ahead of time, basically, is where I'm going with all of this. And then it's really easy just to, every once in a while, throw, a little 4-pack of the Dino beers, or my favorite one is Stegosaurus as far as the Dino beers go. So every month or two, I'll throw either a little 4-pack or a big 750 milliliter one in there. Okay, let's see. Oh, and then the double. That's the other thing you get. So you get a 4-pack of that month's Midwest Fruit Tart, which this month is Kaleidoscope, or this batch is Kaleidoscope. You get the double version too. You get, it says It says 1 can, but that is not accurate. It is a 4-pack, unless they raise the price to $20 for a can. And we have Tropical Trail Mix is one. That's with pineapple, orange, and guava, and then with walnuts, granola, cinnamon, and vanilla beans. And then the Tropical Salsa, which is pineapple, orange, guava, plus coriander, lime, and chili. And then I threw some Stegosaurus in there. So that is, if you didn't know about that, which I should mention, not that that was sponsored, but Brett Coleman Baker is this month's sponsor. When you go to Patreon, there's different levels you can back the Patreon with, and the top one is the sponsor level, which means you get you get whatever you want mentioned on Cincy Brewcast, which is usually a commercial. So every once in a while I mention on this show too. So Kaleidoscope, what's next? Oh, Wooden Cask finally kicking out some cans. This is and these have already been released in Kentucky. I have not seen them in Ohio yet, but they're coming if they're not here already. This is the Blackberry Sangria Sour. Blackberries, hibiscus, lemongrass, lemon peel, and cinnamon. That sounds amazing to me. I actually really kind of like the artwork on it too. And then I have seen this in Ohio. This is their Wooden Path Hefeweizen. Sorry. So yeah, we're headlong into to that season, as you can see by the sunshine on the artwork. That's when you drink a Hefeweizen. You sit out in the sun and you dump it down your face hole. Before we wrap it up, we should definitely talk about all of this chaos on Instagram. If you don't follow her already, and I have to look up. Her handle is Rat Magnet, which, is not the best Instagram name, but her name's Brienne. Brienne. I don't know how she pronounces it. She works for Notch Brewing, and she is in the middle of putting in a new brew house. Jeff wants to know if anybody else is trying to finish their taxes tonight. I always wait till the last minute to do my local taxes, and got mine done like last week, and then did my wife's like last night maybe. But I'm sorry, I'm catching up on all the catching up. Yeah, so she works for Notch Brewing. They're in the middle of, I guess, putting in a new brew house, and there was one day where the same day she had 2 different people make some kind of just a dumbass kind of sexist comment to her about how could she work at a brewery or know what she's doing with a wrench, basically. From that, she asked, that's good. She asked her followers, her Instagram likers, whatever you call it, what is the dumbest sexist comment somebody's made to you working in the industry? What happened then was a string of a lot of comments of things people have said. Let me see if I can pull up Instagram easily on my iPad, which I don't know that I can. Let's see. If not, I can just plug my phone in so you can see it. What has happened after that, though, is a lot of people commented. Oh, yeah, you can see that. Though, not easily. Yeah, I don't like that. Here, hang on. Let me plug my phone in. We can do it that way. Dun, dun, dun. So, since then, let me pull all this stuff off the screen. There we go. If you look now on the little story highlights, this, you can't even tell on the top how many different people are sharing their stories. These are all stories of people treating each other like shit. We're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people telling everything from a judge commenting, "You're much prettier when you smile." Some racist shit. People making just, inappropriate jokes, in the brewery, which we've all definitely heard that from time to time. Just, I think absolute horrible stuff. From every end of the spectrum. And she is, for the last week, spending a lot of her free time now, kind of passing all of those stories on to everybody and calling out breweries and just, saying, hey, this is what people are saying about you. This is what people are saying about people that work for you. And it needs shouted as loudly as possible. It's the part I struggle with is that, we've all heard plenty of things about, people here in town. And, there's some that I definitely know are true. And then there are some that are just kind of rumors that you've heard from other people. And I never know where the responsibility of people who, hear stuff like this lies. So I definitely struggle with it. I struggle with it harder at other times, depending on kind of how it's happening around me. But we need to see more people sharing stories like this, and in those stories calling out people who are being assholes, because that's not what we need out of craft beer. So give her a follow, like I said, Rat Magnet on Instagram, and she's still going strong with it. She's sharing every story that people are sending to her, which is a ton of them. So that's that. Chris wants to know if there's any local call outs. I couldn't find any. I haven't seen any. I saw one for Brad, formerly of Jackie O's. That was the only one that I saw. But I think it's safe to say that people being inappropriate happens here just in the same way that it happens anywhere. I've seen, just from this series of stuff, I've seen a ton from San Diego for some reason. Tired Hands has been just absolutely beat to hell over this. And then some Brewdog stuff. I'm trying to think of who else. I don't know. There's a lot. There is a lot of stories here. It is really, really scary to see how many repeats of the same people it is. You will see over and over some of the same names being thrown out there. So, Sean Hill from Hill Farmstead is being definitely pointed out for. I think there's probably 3 or 4 stories that were shared from him, which is, when you see stuff like this, does it change how much you enjoy a place's beers? And to me, I think it does. I don't know if it should. Like, I know there's lots of people involved with a brewery that aren't these people that are being called out, but at the same time, it makes me feel different when I'm sitting there. I don't feel good about drinking a beer if I know that there is somebody there that is treating people like this or doing some of these horrible, horrible things. So, I don't know. Like I said, give her a follow, read it, and spend some time thinking about what the hell we're supposed to do, because I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how to do my part or do our part in changing the culture of craft beer, which, as we've seen in the last couple years, the culture of craft beer is not exactly what we hope that it is. Brad says, unfortunately, it's still an immature industry, trying to grow and learn. Yeah, that's the like what do we do as consumers or people within the industry or not, And I think that definitely the first step is to not let stuff like these things that people are sharing go I don't want to say unpunished, but uncalled out. Like, if you're sitting in a bar and you hear somebody or see somebody treat somebody inappropriately, say something. Don't just ignore it and kind of chalk it up to guys being guys or whatever I've heard people say. I don't know. If we want craft beer to be what I think craft beer is in a lot of our minds, we have to we got to figure out a way to do something different. I don't know. Definitely a lot of thinking to do over it. But I would like to see more local breweries definitely this week kind of exploring some of the paths that they can take as far as education and trying to talk to their employees about what to do. And that is the drunk line, which is ringing on my iPad instead of my phone again. Hang on, Marco. Oh, I missed Marco's call. Hang on. See if I can call him back here. For some reason, I have it not calling on the my phone. It's coming on the iPad. Here we go. We'll just call him back. Call Marco. Click. Now I'm doing it like shift beers.
Hello.
Marco, sorry I missed your call. I was very busy. Very busy.
No, it's all good, buddy. What a very serious topic you were just discussing, and so it brought to my mind. And by the way, my God, I had a lot of to-go food I had to get tonight before I get to the serious stuff. So my wife is going to pick up Wendy's for everybody except me, and so I was there. But she pulled into Wendy's, and Wendy's closed at 9. And I'm like, I don't know when they did that. And then she said, I don't know, 2 days ago. So anyway, so I had to, where I was picking up to-go food from, I had to wait because I had to place another order for everybody else. Anyway, and Julia, I'm serious. We're going to get that podcast together. So, the very serious topic, Noam. It's important. I'm glad you're talking about it. It made me think back to Founders, when some people at Founders were, and this was at a location, not headquarters or necessarily, but I mean, they were just behaving badly and being racist. And so, I mean, what do we do as craft beer drinkers? And I just steered away from Founders. I didn't buy Founders, and I don't know how much that means. My one thing about not buying Founders, but the thing is, I honestly think the solution, or part of the solution, because it's not going to solve everything, is better diversity and inclusion in craft beer itself. The more women and females, the more races we have, the more that, we get past COVID and we go to events, the more that we don't stand for it as people that are in the community, the better it's going to be. I mean, curtailing or managing the behaviors of drinkers is up to the people who are there serving them or hosting them.
Or I think it's a little bigger than that, though, too. Like it is the responsibility of anybody that's around them. Anybody, if you hear this or see it, like even if you're gonna raise a stink and piss off somebody that's friends with them that does work there, you still.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
that's the problem with some of this, is
doubt.
that you'll hear stories of a bunch of guys sitting at a bar with a couple guy bartenders, and they're making some kind of rude comments about somebody, or being inappropriate to the people that are in that tap room or that work there or the people that aren't there. And it's the responsibility, I think, of us to speak up in that time too.
100%. I mean, and it's also true for as deep or even deeper a subject, making sure that everybody stays safe, right? I mean, if you see somebody it's not an accident. If you see somebody who is with somebody and something gets slipped into a drink, you need to stop.
Yeah.
You need to stop everything. You need to put everything on hold. You need to be responsible. It's one of those things where we all need to look out for each other. We all need to understand that wrong is wrong, and we all need to speak up. And that, unfortunately, there's so much access to people, right? With social media, with the internet, and all that. I mean, as an example, for my full-time job, I mean, when I'm not brewing beer, I'm in the retail sector, and when somebody gets mad and wants my full name, well, it's on my business card. My full name is there, and if they really wanted to, I mean, they could find out a lot of things about me, and it's very, very uncomfortable when I stop and think that, I mean, if this particular person wanted to take on a particular crusade, that they could, but nonetheless, what's right is right. Let's make sure that we just be excellent to each other.
It just all feels like it's not enough. Like I feel like I've spent so much time feeling like I've been doing what I can to be good to the people around me, and to make sure that the people around me are, being treated right by the people that were also around. But as
I don't know, I don't know how to help you to affect the people that you're not around, other than what you're doing with your platform, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can only be.
I can't put myself in the shoes of people who are treated different ways. I'm, a middle-aged white, cisgendered man in America. Like I don't have any of these experiences, and I never have, and I probably never will. It's, Julia commented, and she said she thinks it's a fine line as a woman, and this is a general statement since she's not in the industry. We're just sadly / infuriatingly kind of used to it and just have to shrug it off. So I don't know if women are making it known that it's happening. But that's my whole point right there, is that it's just normal.
That's what's happening though. Is those it's so. I would imagine. I don't have stats. I'm not. This is not my field. But I would imagine it's so disproportionate towards, the female gender, this sort of behavior, that it's just something that they grow up learning, or they get taught how to deal with. I mean, much like a person of color learning, how to deal with certain situations. Maybe, I'm not going to name examples,
Right.
but because I don't want to label any sort of scenario, but I would imagine that people of color, talk and prepare. I would imagine that, females get together, talk and prepare for the fact that, I mean, you're just going to be treated in this manner. It's not fair. And I mean, I say that, and I'm not a white male. I mean, I am a Hispanic person, but I have never felt the way that I have come to think or try to understand people of different races, and
Right.
then the female gender, get into these situations, and it's not okay. I mean, it's just not. We just need to be better, and we need to help each other be better. And I think that we continue to work towards that. And as far as it's concerned in the craft beer industry, look, we are making things that alter people's way, and we need to understand that it's still not okay to be that way. And we need to take it upon ourselves in the industry, and just keep fighting the fight, man. I mean, that's the only way. I don't know what else to say. I mean, so like you talked about, us as adults drinking craft beer, not drinking the same beer as our grandfathers, as our fathers. We need to teach that our children that not only is craft beer great, and we want to grow craft beer, but that level of diversity and inclusion has to be in there as well.
Right.
And hopefully we can, along with having our mission of more people drink great beer, more people be very responsible and understanding and inclusive of, and just make it the way it is instead of the way that we hope to be.
Right.
So, all right, buddy, I'm
Yeah.
gonna hang up. I am almost home with all this to-go food. Giant order to-go food. Oh my God. I'm going to need to put up a Patreon. I'm going to need to put up a Patreon, not to pay for Julia and I's podcast, which is going to be starting soon after we get podcast equipment and work out all the details, but to pay for my family's to-go food. My God.
I would totally sign up for a Patreon to help you guys create a podcast about all of the local podcasts.
Dude, I am so ready. I just, Julia, we'll talk.
Well,
Take care.
Thanks for calling in, Marco.
You got it, buddy.
Cheers,
all the
man.
best. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I just feel like we have this same conversation, not specifically me and Marco. I feel like as beer drinkers, we have this conversation, and it never changes. We just keep saying, "Oh yeah, we got to treat everybody good," and clearly we're not as a community, and we need to figure that out. It's sad, it's depressing, it's kind of, I mean, it's infuriating to know that this thing that me and people like me and you guys hold so dearly, that is craft beer, and the craft beer community, is not what it is for us, for everybody. Like that makes me very sad. We talked about this back in volume 4, episode 28. If you guys want to go back and listen to that conversation, I'm probably going to listen to it tomorrow. I forgot that we did the show until I was just pulling it up. I sat down with Brett and Josh from Urban Artifact, and then Betty from Fibonacci, and we talked kind of about. I mean, we were talking about some specific situations without talking about specific situations, because it wasn't our story to tell, but it was definitely a story that was shared with all of us, and was creating some problems in the local industry, and not knowing what to do about that is hard sometimes and frustrating. And yeah, just listen to that episode. It's a good one. Brad said it starts at home. Yes, it definitely does, and that's the key to the future of it. Is treat, act appropriately in your life, and then the people around you will learn to act appropriately. But it starts everywhere. When you're out and you see people do things that are not right, it is our responsibility as community members, whatever that community is. It's our responsibility as people to speak out against things that we know aren't right, even if I struggle with this a lot. You can be in a room with a handful of people, and somebody will say something that is wrong, or do something that is wrong, and you speak up, and everybody looks at you like you're the crazy one. And why are you saying something? This is just the way it is. This is the way people do this. And in your heart and like inside that's wrong. And I will never ever ever be the person that sucks it up and ignores how I feel, just because a community or a society or a room of people tells me that that's the way it's supposed to be. And that causes me some problems in life from time to time. But I think that that's my responsibility for these communities that I'm part of, or these people that I surround myself with, or to my friends or my family, my wife, my kids. You're supposed to be a good person, and that's the only way to sleep at night. And I don't know. I don't know, guys. This is a very big topic for a show that is not a show, but I think we probably need to, or I probably need to explore this a lot deeper in some kind of fashion. And I don't know what that is, but we've got some problems that need fixed. And got to do my part to do that. So, well, all right. Julia says, kudos to you for being that person that calls it out when something doesn't sit right. But I say that, and like right now, there's a handful of stories from within this craft beer community here in Cincinnati that, I'm not sharing with you guys. I'm not telling you the things that I've heard. I'm not calling people out. Matt Damaris commented earlier, there's a local brewery I'd avoid due to a conversation I once had. I'm not into calling out folks publicly, though I made it clear, though, a line was crossed when it happened. I choose not to drink their beers anymore. And that's the thing, is that even if I call it out when it happens and they never go back, it's not stopping it from happening. It's not letting people know that it's happening. It doesn't, it's not fixing anything. And, even though I might call somebody out if if they say something, when I'm around them, clearly not calling them out, in some kind of public forum that other people can be aware of it. And is that wrong? I don't know. It's I don't know. I don't think that I'm doing as much as I could. But you take that other step into calling people out publicly. Well, yeah. I'm curious, Matt. I think you need to send me a text message. Let me know where you're talking about. All right, guys. I guess we're ending on that note. Or no, I'll talk about the raspberry ice cream gyroscope to end on a little bit positive of a note. It's good. It's really good. It Urban Artifact doesn't go over the top on sweetness. We talked about that earlier with the approaching seltzer release. This is dry, but has that creamy kind of vanilla ice cream thing going on. So good. Absolutely wonderful. I appreciate you guys a lot for hanging out and taking part in whatever this thing is, the Weekly Pint. It's not a show, but I don't know what it is. It's a happy hour. It is sometimes a very serious happy hour. We will definitely be back to do this again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, right? And keep your ears open for next week's Brewcast. I was up at Common Brewing Company. Love those guys. And then have some mead coming up on the show in the near future. Well, Chris, thanks for staying up late. Thank you guys. We'll see you soon. Everybody be good to each other. Don't be an asshole, and don't let people that you call friends and family be assholes either. Thanks, guys.